Alliance. Please visit alliance-wrestling.com for all the news, interviews, videos, upcoming matches, and more from the NWA. Like us on Facebook. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in to Alliance Radio. I'm your host, Jay Cal, and with me is the two-time former NWA World Tag Team Champion, reigning NWA Texas Champion, calls the Lone Star State his home. You've seen him in the WWE. You've seen him in TNA. My guest is, you've known him as a Vance Archer in the WWE, but I'm going to call him Lance Hoyt. Lance, welcome to the show.
What's up, man? How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Hey, thanks for joining us today, again, on Alliance Radio.
Okay.
Now, we know you started your career in Texas shortly after your college football career, correct?
Yeah, man. I played ball for about 3 years. First at a school called Howard Payne University, and then my last year at Texas State University. I got out of football, politics, whatever you want to call it. And I was always a fan of the business, and I was working in a club in downtown Austin. The guy who owned the club knew a guy who had started a federation in school, got me hooked up, and had me go in and do a tryout. And I had no clue what the business was about, and I've never been in so much pain in my life. I was a quarterback. I wore the pretty yellow jersey. Nobody ever touched me, so I didn't know what pain could actually be. And it was something I almost didn't go back to, but the guy who owned the place actually made it affordable for a poor college kid. Helped me out a lot. I went back and, kind of really started everything from there, and had my first match probably a month after I started training, which was a complete mistake, but I didn't know any better. I was a young kid and just ready to go. Who knows, man?
Now, obviously you played college ball, so I'm assuming you played a little high school football. Did you at any point step into the amateur wrestling while you were in high school?
No, we didn't have amateur wrestling at my school. It was a smaller 3A high school in Texas, and football was the prime sport, with baseball and basketball and track for the guys, and things like that. So we didn't have any wrestling. I didn't know anything about traditional wrestling other than the Olympics, really.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of interesting. A lot of guys get their start, doing the whole grappling in high school, and try to work their way into their profession later. So your first experience, getting in the ring and doing wrestling per se, would be when you first started back in 2000.
Yep, back in 2000 started, and so this July will be my 11th year, actually.
11 years, and so wow, 11 years in the world of professional wrestling, and you spent a good chunk of that time working for two of the biggest wrestling promotions in the world, and especially here in the United States, and the WWE and TNA.
Right.
Now, when you started in TNA, you kind of showed up as a bodyguard or an enforcer for Kid Kash, and you went under the name as Dallas. Can you tell me a little bit about your time in TNA?
Yeah, absolutely. That all came about kind of out of nowhere. I had done a few tryout matches with the company. I was coming up actually for another tryout. One of the guys that was actually on the roster at TNA at the time, his wife was having a baby. He couldn't be there. So somebody decided that I looked like a bigger version of Kid Kash, and they wanted to plug me into that spot. Did well that night, and that night they offered me a contract, and I signed it, and I probably shouldn't have that night, but I did because I was ready to go, and, that's kind of how everything came about. And Dallas was a name that was interesting, to say the least, kind of existed because that's where I was coming from, was Dallas, Texas. So that's how the name Dallas kind of came into existence.
Well, I personally like Dallas a lot better than, they could have called you like Sid Kash or
yes, they could have.
Big Kash
they were coming up with a bunch of crazy names at the time, and I was just like, oh my gosh. Somebody said, well, where's he from? And they said, Dallas. I said, cool, that's his name. I said, all right, here we go.
Yeah, that's not a bad name.
Not a bad name, no.
Now, Lance, when you first started in TNA, they partnered you up with Kid Kash, and you guys went on to win the NWA World Tag Team Championship. You did that by defeating Low Key and Christopher Daniels. How was that for you as you weren't in the company for very long, and you were already wearing the NWA World Tag Team Championships?
Yeah, it was an amazing time, man. It was one of those things where it happened very quickly. Kash and I just gelled extremely well. We captured those titles from two veteran guys of TNA and of the business. And it was a definite privilege for me to be a part of that and be a part of the lineage that is the NWA World Tag Team Champions. To be able to call myself a world champion, a real world champion, because of what the NWA has meant to the business over the history, with some of the biggest names in the business being a part of those same tag team titles. And so, I was doing everything I could to earn my spot and earn my place, and if there was anybody that was kind of back there that didn't like the position I was put in, they kept it to themselves. They didn't say anything to me, and it was one of those situations where, I think I held myself in a manner that allowed people to accept it a lot more than they would if I walked around like my stuff don't stink. So it was a good situation. Nobody stepped up and said anything negative to me, and they're probably better off that they didn't say anything negative to me, but it was all good, man.
Yeah, well, no doubt. Yeah, 6'8", 265. I don't know if anyone would be dumb enough to, hey, why has this guy got the tag title?
Oh, I'm sure there's cats out there that think they have balls enough to do it anyway.
Yeah, well, not this guy. So, so you were in TNA for a while, and again, you had the tag team titles. You won them again later on in the year. Again, teaming up with Kid Kash to be a two-time NWA Tag Team Champion. And, there was a point I don't want to call it a missed opportunity because, I firmly believe everything happens for a reason, but it looked like, to this casual TNA fan, that it looked like they were going to put you, on a path that would lead to that NWA World Heavyweight Championship.
Right.
When you were there, were there serious talks of you actually getting an opportunity to face off against Jeff Jarrett or Rhino or whomever was holding the title at the time? And do you feel like you got not a lost opportunity, but maybe a bum rap never getting that opportunity to wrestle for the World Championship?
I think it was a mistake that it never happened. Absolutely, man. I mean, but if the conversation ever existed, it didn't really exist when I was around. Right. The wrestling business, the sports entertainment business, whatever you want to call it, is interesting. It's weird. It's strange. It's that mistress you can never have, but you never want to get rid of. She's always, making you cry and hating this and that and everything like that, but you're always trying to get to that top of the game. And, my time there, I think there were opportunities that the company could have pushed me harder and further and chose not to, one reason or not. I was with the company for 5 years, and I was there at different times as the company was changing, from just going from the Wednesday night pay-per-view events to the Friday night or the Friday afternoon Fox Sports Network. When we actually got on TV for the first time, to when we had no TV and we were just doing internet shows and pay-per-views, to when we debuted on Spike TV with our 1 hour spot, to when we bumped it up to 2 hours. And as things changed and increased, the company felt like it had to go in certain directions. It felt like it needed to do certain things to help the company out. And I can't fault them for them trying to do what's best for their company in the way they thought it should be. But personally, I think I was the best choice and should have been their best choice, and they would have made a better choice by making me that guy. But they didn't. It didn't happen. I'm not bitter. I just think that they would have been better off if they'd made that choice.
Now, again, it seems like they almost took you in an opposite direction shortly after, those matches where you were, getting those qualifying matches,
right.
To go that direction. It seems like they changed you in a different direction. They put you in the ring with Christy Hemme, which, I think you and I could both agree that's not the worst thing in the world. And put you in the ring with Jimmy Rave, who, for those of you who don't know Jimmy Rave, I think we could both agree that he's probably one of the better junior heavyweights, not just in the United States, but in the world. And put you in a trio and a tag team that, in all honesty, looked like it was a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Rock N Rave was one of the funner times, if funner isn't a word, that I've had in the business. And it was just for the simple fact that we got to act like goofballs. We got to have a great time. It's sad to me that, again, another, collection of people, Christy Hemme, who could work and was hotter than sin, Jimmy Rave, who's one of the smoothest cats in the ring that I've ever seen, and myself, who's got some power, ability, and agility all combined into one big, beautiful ball. We were a tag team that, could work with anybody, and, somebody didn't take us serious. And we weren't supposed to be a serious gimmick. We weren't supposed to be seen as, ass kickers, but physically, I could probably be in there with just about anybody you want to stick in there with me. Jimmy, ability-wise, could be in there with anybody that you wanted to stick him in there with. And Christy could distract any man, woman, child alive, and it's just, it was sad to me that we weren't given more of a prime opportunity to be more of a staple group of the company, And again, I mean, I may sound bitter here, but that seemed to be my whole time there. There was times and opportunities where things were going really good and getting bigger and stronger and better. And then for, like you said, whatever reason, the company chose to go in different directions, and I wasn't a part of that direction at the moment. I was still a part of the company, but, things had to go their own direction. And unfortunately, we were kind of going, okay, that was great, that was funny, but we got to go this way now. And so we kind of got lost in the shuffle. And, I think that's been a lot of my career. And some people can agree with that. Some people are going to say, bull crap, piece crap, blah, blah, blah. I appreciate everybody who's been a fan and a supporter, and I love all the haters, because feel free to hate on me.
You'll be famous because they keep your name in their mouth, right?
Exactly. Keep talking about me. If they say it, I don't care.
Okay, hang on just a second. So, when we're talking about TNA, and something I heard come up a lot was people looked at you and were kind of confused as to your abilities in the ring, not so much your wrestling ability, but the fact that what you could do in the ring, being able to do a moonsault or being able to connect with a missile drop kick. Those aren't typically considered big man moves, and for the most part, you're considered a big man in the ring. And some people likened it to Brock Lesnar when they'd say, hey, Lesnar shouldn't be doing that shooting star press because, he's too big of a guy to be doing it. What would you say to detractors of yours that would say, hey, Lance Hoyt isn't a cruiserweight, he shouldn't be moving around the ring like a cruiserweight?
I think they're wrong. And that's just, that's my opinion. That's my thought. I think the business itself has to adapt. It has to change. It has to evolve. I'm not a person that believes in evolution, but I believe in the evolution of the business, the sport of professional wrestling, sports entertainment. Physically, I'm a guy that you wouldn't typically see doing the things that I can actually do. And for the people who would say, don't do that, you're too big, you should be doing this, I don't try to compare myself to a Brock Lesnar. I don't try to compare myself physically to an Undertaker. And even the Undertaker, if you watch Undertaker, one of his biggest, coolest things he does every year at WrestleMania is he launches himself full tilt boogie over the top rope to land on whoever the heck happens to be underneath him. And it's one of the coolest things. He walks the rope and he does the old school. Kane goes to the top rope and he does the clothesline. Now, they're not doing moonsaults and stuff, but they're still doing things that you go, man, that's an amazing, cool thing to see such a big guy do. So why shouldn't I do the things that I physically can do? It's not like me being 5 foot tall and, press slamming the Big Show. It's me being a 6'8", 265-pound guy who can run from one side of the ring up the ropes to the top rope, do a moonsault, and land on the guy. If I can physically do it, how is that not believable? How is that not something I shouldn't be doing? So I think anybody who says I shouldn't be doing those things are just trying to hold me back because their mentality is, big guys do this, small guys do that, so you should be doing this. And I say, no, I'll do that. And, I think it's one of those things that separated me from your typical big guy when I was at TNA. And some of the height of my popularity, I believe, in TNA and the business has been because I did those things. And I wasn't just the typical big guy, And again, I don't see myself as a monster of a man. I am a big guy. But with the things that I can do, I think I should be doing them because they separate. They give me an identity that most guys of my size do not have.
Lamborghini! And have I got a deal for you, folks? Let me tell you. Woo!
Wrestle Warehouse Deal of the Week, 3 Lucha masks for only $29.99. Again, head to WrestleWarehouse.com and take advantage of the Deal of the Week 3 masks for only $29.99. Also, while you're there, make sure you check out the custom belts starting at $279. If your promotion needs a championship belt, why not get one for under $300? And also, the SoCal Pro Wrestling 4-year anniversary on sale for $9.99. Check out WrestleWarehouse.com.
Okay, so after you left TNA, which also kind of signified the end of your time with All Japan, you finally got the opportunity to head towards the WWE. And when you first started competing in the WWE, you were assigned to their developmental promotion. Now, as we've been talking for the last 20 minutes or so, you brought up that you've worked with All Japan. You were part of TNA Wrestling. Did you kind of feel that it was a little bit insulting to go to the developmental promotion, or was it more like you knew that you had to kind of learn their style of wrestling?
Exactly what you said at the end. I didn't see it as insulting. I knew what I was getting into. I think at the time they'd had kind of a bad taste in their mouth from some of the talents that they'd dealt with in the past that had come from TNA. And so I knew I had to earn my place. I knew it was a test. I knew everything I was doing getting into that situation was a test. But from, when I ended with TNA and I went and did a tryout with them, and they put me through the ringer to see how I would react, see what kind of attitude I would have, see if I was ready to work, see if I could work, see if I, took instruction well, so on and so forth. There was a lot of tests that were going on, and it was primarily because of the situations they dealt with in the past with guys. And I knew that, so going into FCW wasn't a problem. And FCW, especially if you're wanting to get your feet wet in the right place for WWE and not be caught totally off guard with how they operate, FCW is an amazing place to be. The kids that are down there that have never touched the ring before and are learning from the ground up in that system, an amazingly prime opportunity. And for guys who are coming from whatever situation in the business that they're at, instead of stepping in and going in and on their television program and making mistakes right away, you can eliminate a lot of that by doing what you do in FCW. And the people at FCW, from Dusty Rhodes, Dr. Tom Pritchard, Norman Smiley, there's several different people that had come in and worked with us while I was there. Steve Kern, who owns FCW, amazing amount of talent and knowledge in the business and understanding of how WWE operates and wants their guys to operate. So I didn't see it as insulting at all. I saw it as a prime opportunity to prove myself as a WWE talent at the time and show them that I could be there and I could learn and I could adapt and I could do it. And at the time I did, I think, pretty well. I was only really at FCW for 6 months prior to me going on the TV.
And, that's kind of a short time when you hear about some of the other guys who, the word that comes to my head is reprogram, but I know that's not right. It's just learning that style of, television wrestling where, for example, a guy like CM Punk who grew up on the indies and spent so much time, wrestling to a certain crowd, wrestling a certain style, and then having to change that to, kind of, be more WWE friendly, be more television friendly. And okay, so then after FCW, like you said, 6 months later, you found yourself competing in ECW. Now, obviously, it wasn't the ECW that a lot of us watched when we were younger, or but it still was an exciting new program for the WWE. What can you tell me about your time going into ECW and what kind of from your time being in TNA in terms of being on Impact versus being in ECW and dealing with the different production aspects, different audience almost.
Right. First off, I had no clue what was going on when I was being brought up. I got a call on Saturday afternoon, said you're needed for TV on Tuesday, and I said, oh, okay, cool. I still hadn't known what was going on. Nobody had said one word to me. My friends that were already on the road, I showed up, and they're like, whoa, what are you doing here? And I'm like, whoa, I have no idea. And it wasn't until the next morning that Joey Styles was like, hey, we're going to get some information from you later for the website. And I went, oh, okay, something's happening because, guys had gone on the road before and were just being looked at, not necessarily thrown on TV right away.
Right.
For me, ECW was a great opportunity. You know, there's a lot of negative, ECW, blah, blah, blah. They didn't like it, whatever, because of what they had grown accustomed to from the original ECW. But ECW was a great place because this business is more about time in front of those people that they start to accept you as a star, as a superstar, somebody who belongs there. I mean, you look at your Jack Slaggers, your Sheamuses, your Evan Bournes, your Kofi Kingston, CM Punk. I mean, these guys all started on WWE's ECW product and continued on there and moved on. And guys that were ECW originals moving on into the normal big-time WWE product. And so for me, it was a prime, amazing opportunity. And, you know, you were working, it was on the SmackDown crew, so, you know, it was part of SmackDown Superstars ECW Superstars and SmackDown all taped on the same night. So it wasn't like it was his own product and we were stuck in our own little shell. We were a part of the machine that was WWE, filming our show prior to everything that happened. And for me, it was a prime opportunity. If it hadn't ended, I think things would have been a lot better for me. But the abrupt end of ECW, you know, 2.5, 3 months after I started on the program, hurt myself and many other talents that were young guys that needed time and opportunity.
Right. So once you did get to ECW, and again, you were like getting, it seemed like they were starting to put you in that direction to, you know, perhaps wrestle for that ECW Heavyweight Championship. You were having matches with Shelton Benjamin. It wasn't long before you moved onto SmackDown and started teaming with Kurt Hawkins again. You weren't a stranger to wrestling tag team matches. Again, your previous experience with TNA. How did you feel about, you know, kind of being, again, kind of put into a tag team situation?
You know, we were hoping for good things because at the time, you know, the Hearts were the tag champions. You had the Usos, you had the Dude Busters, you had ourselves, and we were hoping that there might be kind of a rebirth of the tag division with guys who were young, talented, ready to work their butts off, make a name for themselves, and kind of create that division as its own. So it was kind of exciting at the time, and we were kind of being geared in that direction. You know, I could say that I don't think we were given the best spot in the world, but I think we were definitely given a good spot. I mean, to debut on Superstars, in my opinion, probably wasn't the most prime opportunity, but at least we were getting to be out there, you know. And at first it was good things, the situations were good, and then, you know, thoughts changed, opinions changed, and so did our position.
Yeah, and it just kind of seems like, you know, in any pro wrestling, in any, you know, professionally produced wrestling where you have, you know, a TV show with writers, like we've talked about earlier, you know, everyone gets shuffled around and it just, it's unfortunate. Like, it seems like a lot of times where you've got that steam rolling and you're heading in the right direction and then someone, you know, changes up the plan on you.
Yep. That's, you know, and to some people that may sound like complaining or bitterness or whatever, but if anybody's been around and in that situation, they absolutely understand where I'm coming from. And, you know, there's always times guys will be being pushed to the moon and all of a sudden they're dropped back and there's not really any explanation as to why or what's going on. It just simply happens. And so it's either it's how you deal with it, A, and B, if you're given the chance and the time to wait that out, to move on to that next big step without them doing like they did with a bunch of us, which was release us.
Now, looking back in your time in the WWE, now you were there for, you know, a little over a year. I don't want to say do you have any regrets, but are there things that you know, besides the paycheck, are there things that you miss about being in the WWE? And would that be something down the road you'd look to maybe take them up on an opportunity if it came up again?
Oh, absolutely, man. I mean, this business is all about being the best in the business. And I believe, you know, you ask if I have regrets. The regrets I have are not kicking Vince's door in and going, hey, this is my spot, give it to me. You know, I was in a mindset of let me earn my place because I've only been here this short period of time. And then once I've earned my place, then I'll be given an opportunity and I'll go kick somebody's door in. But unfortunately, my time was cut short and I should have just gone and kicked his door in. So I regret that. But as far as what I miss, you know, I miss being with my friends. I miss being a part of the biggest company in the business at the moment. I miss I miss being able to go out and spend the week for WrestleMania. And even though it was just a pre-show and a battle royal when I got to do it, it's in front of 72,000 people at the Phoenix Sun, or the football stadium. It was an amazing experience and feeling. You know? Right. I missed that, and I'm working my butt off, and I will get back. If they even crack the door for me, I will kick it in, and they will regret ever releasing me in the first place.
The time has come. I'm so happy I can't even just sit still. May 21st, NWA Texas, Grand Prairie, Texas. Bell time's about 2 p.m. We're going to have a big party. Lance Hoyt, you like to party. Lance Hoyt, this may be a party you're not going to be graciously invited to. I don't think the people there are going to like you, Lance Hoyt. You see, this is a biker party, Lance. This is a biker rally, Lance Hoyt. These guys aren't going to go for your fluffy hair. These guys aren't going to go for your good looks. They're going to go for me. Because this is the same pain they felt. These teeth I got knocked out is probably the same bars. They ruin their families, they ruin their marriages, and they ruin their lives in. They feed to me, Lance. They can relate to me, Lance. I dig and I scratch every day of my life, every match of my life, to put food on my table, to put food in my baby girl's mouth. I wasn't gifted with your size. I wasn't gifted with your talent, but you weren't gifted with my heart, so I'm going to tell you what. Big Lance, one thing that this match isn't going to lack is respect. I respect you so much, brother. May 21st, you're going to find out why I've been called the Underground Icon. You, big man, the NWA Texas champion, are going to find out why I've been named the whole Psycho show. It's not just a bunch of names. It's not just a bunch of hype. When you're looking up and you're getting dizzy, the Underground Icon just paid you a visit.
Just heard Scott Summers cut a promo on you, Lance Hoyt, and challenging you for your NWA Texas Championship. Now, what would you like to say in response to Scott Summers?
You know, Scott claims to be the underground icon of Texas wrestling, or wrestling as a whole. And, you know, I'm glad he thinks he's underground. And I've said this a couple times in the sense that if he wants to be underground, then he just needs to stay underground. Because coming out and challenging me for the Texas Heavyweight title is not something that's going to be conducive to his well-being and health and his future in this business. And, you know, I mean, he's more than welcome to try, but it's going to be a fuel effort. And, you know, I'll still be the NWA Texas champion at the end of the day. So he can say what he wants. He can laugh all crazy like he likes to go, and, you know, but he's not scaring me. It's not going to work. You know, he's going to be underground when I'm done with him, because I'll bury him 6 feet deep.
There you go. Putting the underground icon actually literally underground. And again, what we're talking about is the live pro wrestling event coming to you Saturday at the Longhorn Harley-Davidson dealership in Grand Prairie, Texas, and that's off of the I-20. Again, you can call the Harley-Davidson dealership for some details. The telephone number is 972-988-1903. Besides the action in the ring, there's also going to be, some cold adult beverages, which are always good, and they're free. So make sure you head to the show on Saturday. Bell time is at 2 p.m. Make sure you bring a folding chair if you'd like to have a seat, or if you don't mind standing, don't worry about it. Besides Lance Hoyt stepping into the ring with Scott Summers, putting that NWA Texas Championship on the line, there's also going to be the Texas Tag Team titles will be defended, as well as some ladies in action. So certainly going to be a good day for the NWA Southwest and the folks in the Grand Prairie area.
Yep, definitely. Some babes brawling and beer. Can't go wrong that way, right?
Not at all. So, and we've talked a little bit offline, Lance, and for you guys who are following Lance on Twitter, if you're not, shame on you. Go to twitter.com /Lance Hoyt. Lance tweeting about pretty much everything that's on his mind. But when the North American Heavyweight Championship tournament was announced, you were one of the few guys who actually took to the fans, took to the, took to Twitter and
Right.
point blank said, "Hey, I want a shot at this title. I want to be in the tournament."
I sure did.
In fact, as far as I know, it was you and another gentleman by the name of Jacoby Boykins who were the only two to actually come out and ask to be included in this tournament.
Right.
But for whatever reason, the board of directors or, Bob Trowbridge or just whoever's putting this tournament together left your name off the list. How does that feel?
I liken it and I sum it all up as fear. Fear drives us to do a lot of things. Sometimes it drives us to do good things and it creates that survival instinct, and sometimes it just has us do stupid things. And in my opinion, them not allowing myself and the other gentleman you mentioned, did he make it into the tournament or not?
No, he was.
No, okay. Two guys who want to be there, who want to be a part of it, and they don't even include them. And I just say it's fear. They're afraid of what I can actually do as the North American champion. And they also are afraid of the fact that I probably wouldn't be North American champion very long because I would move on to their world title and I would take that as well. But, that's gone unwarranted as well. I'm just trying to improve myself and gain name within the NWA. I respect the NWA immensely because of what it is in the wrestling business, for the history that it has, all the names and the people that have been involved in the NWA from the beginning of their time to now, and it's a great lineage of people and champions, and I'd like to be a part of that, but, again, there's nothing been said, no mention of me being a part of that, and I think they're afraid.
Now, the North American tournament did start earlier this month, back on, first match was on May 5th, and so far the Final Fours are set for Ace Rockwell to take on Kyle Matthews at May 28th at NWA Anarchy, and then Sean Tempers is set to take on Corey Hollis for NWA Chattanooga on May 20th, I guess this Friday night. We could probably see a finals, before, the first week of June. I'm sure I'm playing an advocate here for you, but I'd like to see someone on the NWA Board of Directors step up. Be it Jacoby Boykins or, of course, Lance Hoyt. Both men have made threw down the challenges as soon as the title became available. And I think it would be fitting if the NWA, the Board of Directors, if Bill Bearings or if Bob Trowbridge made that match happen. You're going to have a winner the first week of June, be it, Rockwell, Matthews, Tempers, or Hollis. And I think, their first match should be against the NWA Texas champion, Lance Hoyt.
If that's what it needs to be, that's what it needs to be. But the problem is for whoever becomes that North American champion, because the tournament's already in effect, the challengers have already been named. Like you said, they're already into the Final Four, and the champion's probably going to be crowned here pretty soon. If I'm the first title defense, unfortunately for whoever it is, it's going to be their one and only title defense, because then I'll be the North American champion. If the other gentleman that was requesting to be a part of this wants to come and join the fight, he's more than welcome. But unfortunately for him, it'll be a futile effort in himself, because I'm going to be champion. One way or another, I would be champion. So, again, if it doesn't happen, I say it's because somebody is afraid that's going to be the reality. And I'm not just going to be another stepping stone for some kid who hasn't really done a whole lot in the business. I don't disrespect anybody, because everybody's working hard and trying to make a name for themselves, and they're busting their butt. And God bless them for being a part of that title. But if I'm their first defense, it'll be their first and only and last.
Okay, I'm going to hit pause here real quick. Shortly after last weekend, New Japan Pro Wrestling, again, they're no longer affiliated with the National Wrestling Alliance, but they did hold a few matches over the weekend in the Northeast, and Lance Hoyt made his presence known under your alias Lance Archer.
Yep.
What is the new deal with Lance Hoyt and New Japan Pro Wrestling, and what can we expect to see of that?
Well, I've been to Japan many times, and I've enjoyed being a part of everything that is Japanese. Several companies that I've worked for, including All Japan in the past, and New Japan is the premier company in Japan, and I saw a prime opportunity with them being in America on our coastline. And so I decided to go up there and make my name known. I actually got a phone call, and the guy that I spoke to basically said, listen, Kojima needs to go down. He spoke in English, he's a Japanese guy. But he spoke English, but it was basically, Kojima hurt. I said, okay, Kojima hurts bad to me, and I did it. And so guess what? New Japan Wrestling, I'm coming over, and I'm going to make you pay attention and like you've never paid attention before.
Now, and again, that happened during the crowning of the New Japan Intercontinental Champion, a title that MVP won. Again,
yep.
You're no stranger to MVP.
Nope.
What role, if any, does he play in this new conquest of yours?
Well, I went over there with a purpose. It was to put Kojima down. I put Kojima down, and then MVP decided to stick his nose in it, and he wanted to save Kojima. He said, he's going to be a big superstar. This was earlier in the night, and he hadn't actually won the title yet. And I'm surprised it didn't throw his focus so much that, cost him the Intercontinental title. But, he stayed focused, and he got the Intercontinental title as part of New Japan Pro Wrestling. And, now he's put a target on his back. And, not only New Japan Pro Wrestling, but MVP and his title. So, who knows what's going to happen when I get over there. But if he sticks his nose in my business again, it might be a situation where he becomes a one-time only Intercontinental Champion and is very quickly ended of that reign.
Well, apparently you put the bullseye on a couple of different wrestlers across the globe. Lance, with the, of course, your defense coming up here on the 21st on Saturday.
Yep.
What you did last weekend, it seems like your stock is definitely rising around the globe.
And it will only continue, man. Like I said, in my opinion, the business is what it is, and situations happen as they happen. I believe I was kept at a certain place and pace for a long time, and you know what? I'm tired of that. I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and I'm going to show the world what kind of star that I actually am. Okay. So
your schedule in New Japan, I don't see it, potentially affecting your upcoming defenses for, of course, the NWA Texas Championship and any opportunity that the NWA Board of Directors might find for you down the road with the North American Championship shot. It sounds like you're going to be a busy man in the month of June.
Yeah, the month of June is going to be pretty busy, and then I'll be back in the States. I mean, I'm only going to be there for a week, and then I'll be back, and there's a prime opportunity for me to go and kick some butt in the NWA.
Well, again, the big show is happening this Saturday, 2 p.m., Grand Prairie, Texas, at the Harley-Davidson dealership, the Longhorn Harley-Davidson dealership. Again, it's you guys want to bring your own chairs, but the free cold adult beverages will be provided. And again, it's a 2 p.m. bell time.
Yep.
You're going to see the NWA Texas Championship on the line, the NWA Texas Tag Team Championships on the line, and then also, like Lance alluded to, the Babes will be in action. So again, make sure you check out that event. If you need more information, you go to nwa-southwest.com. You could also give them a call. I believe this is the number for the Harley-Davidson dealership. That's 972-988-1903. Lance, I really appreciate your time for this podcast and your candidness with us. And, if there's anything else Alliance Wrestling can do for you, we'd greatly appreciate it.
Man, I appreciate you having me on and giving me some time. And, just like you said earlier, let everybody know to check me out on Twitter. Give me a follow if they want to see what I'm doing, what I'm all about. Or they can also hit me up on Facebook. It's under Lance Hoyt. The Facebook it has the icon from the video game on there, so that's me. There might be some other Lance Hoyts out there, but they're not me.
Yeah, even on Twitter, I've seen a few fake Lance Hoyts, so definitely.
What?
Yeah,
I'm gonna mess somebody up.
I think it's a Lance Archer that's out there. Maybe it's Vance Archer, but you've got some.
There's
some
no
stalkers,
Vance Archer out there. Yeah, well, they tend to do that sometimes.
Okay, well, hey, best of luck on Saturday, and best of luck in New Japan, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.